I'm the agriculture agent in Dinwiddie, Virginia, and really got into working with drones back in 17 when they first started getting popular, and we were figuring out how to use this tool for extension to help farmers and to help homeowners with property in general. And you find out a lot of people buy these things, for $80, $90, and then you can buy the ones that are a lot more expensive in advance. Right now, I'm on a grant where it's costing $45,000 to buy the drone that I want to work with next. And that's where some of the topics I bring up today we'll be working with aquaculture some in waterways. But this one here is a DJI. It's pretty popular. You can see I've got some numbers written here on them. To teenagers and people buy these for Christmas, they're considering these toys. A lot of them you find sitting in the closet after a few weeks, after you fly around with the drone that can't see anything and you just watch the drone fly. They lose a lot of interest after time. If you get into racing and competitions, that's where the fun is with some drone work, because most of these drones have a couple different settings, and then you can soup them up too to fly even faster, just like with cars. These brushless motors, it's the battery and the electronics, how fast it will spin, and it's not a whole lot of limitations until it just gets hot and shuts down from overuse. But this was the first one that I invested in, and this one cost about $2,000. And then when you add the batteries to it, the batteries each will cost about $75 to $150. These are lithium batteries. This is a brand new set because they are dangerous. That's what other people forget. I'm throwing in safety because that's part of my job too. But you've heard about electric cars catching on fire. These can too. These can ignite in the case. I just found one of mine 2 weeks ago was squishy. I could squeeze it and it squished like a marshmallow. And that means the chemicals inside are reacting with themselves, and it was hot. It's been sitting under my desk because this is kind of bulky now. I've got several others, drones. But when you feel them getting kind of pliable, you need to dispose of them properly, and that means carry them to your landfill if they've got an HHW program to get rid of the actual lithium, or they may have a recycling program. Not many people recycle them. We would like to, but there's not a lot of options for it, but there are a few that take them. I think the companies are sitting on them that are recycling right now in bulk and hoping that something will come along that's easier, because there's like 9 different metals inside the battery. So they are dangerous. When we took our safety class at Tech on them to get our licenses, they showed fires going off on security cameras where people had drones in their cars, or just telephones will catch on fire. But these are, there is a danger. I'm throwing that out there just to let you know it's not all, fun and games. You do have a signaling system that tells you how active your battery is. This one's a little lower. It won't take a full charge. That's the first thing to notice. If it won't take a full charge for you, there's something wrong with the battery. You might as well go ahead and swap them out and get new ones and dispose of these. Unfortunately, my other drone, I left my case, but you can buy explosion bags that go with your drones. So if you buy them for your kids and you start getting them, for grandchildren, you need to think about all the parts that go along with actually owning a drone to be smart. I stuck the one that I had in my safety bag at home so it wouldn't catch on fire. I put it on the deck outside overnight, and I took it to the landfill to give, and it's still in my other vehicle at work. So that's the other thing, buying a lot of equipment to cover all drones. Right now I have 9 that I work with, everything from the micro drones made by Parrish. Our 4-H agent does a really good class with kids where she'll come out and teach the kids programming. So they have to come up an obstacle course. These picnic tables are a perfect obstacle course. You would start here, the kids have to measure the heights of all the benches, and they can try to fly under the tables, over the tables, down between it, and they come up with their own flight plan. and they take off, and then they have a judge that, you know, sees how close they get, if they're accurate on, you know, how close they are. The Parrot drones have the propeller protectors on it, the guards. So if they do brush up against something, and that drone is only about $8,900 now, I guess, with inflation, but the whole kit cost $250 for 6 drones, because you got a price break for buying more of them. And Parrot's a good company for education. So if anybody's looking at do something like that, we do that in my office with my 4-H agent. And she's taught classes to other 4-H agents that are teaching about drones. I'll eventually get to the water, but I wanted to kind of paint a good picture for you. I want to be educated. See, I know what I'm doing. I want to get you to that point. So I mentioned the numbers on it. If you're going to do it for profit or help someone that makes a profit, you're supposed to legally to have a FAA 107 license. So in my job, if I'm helping a farmer identify insects and diseases, he or she is making money, I'm helping that person with their business. So they require us through Virginia Tech. Now, if you're doing research, they don't require our research stations to have the license at this point, but they have to fly on the actual property. Another thing about these, you can be charged with trespassing. If you're within a certain area and you're looking and recording into someone else's property, that is considered trespassing with these. If you can prove it, that's the hardest thing, is to prove it. But it's like a camera like we've got here, that if you could take a picture of the drone pointed in that direction, at least you've got some kind of, this becomes a problem with fishing and hunting, because I know of people that have used drones to find ponds. So they've seen a gate, they've seen a pond. I've seen people fly the drones and look to see where the trail is that has no gate and where is the fish pond. So everything that's fun always has a downside to them too. People get very cute. One flew in front of me on a deer stand last year. And I recognized the sound as soon as it came over the tree. Huh? It could have been the deer, wouldn't know where I was. But it's not fair when I'm wearing this. The person with a drone can find me really easy. And I know roughly who it was. There's a hunt club that's about a half a mile from me. They're trying to see if deer are in that field, and then they can come in that morning, drop the tailgate, and turn the dogs loose, and they can see what the deer look like. These also are night vision capable, infrared capable, LiDAR capable. This one is not, but I can buy a camera that goes on here for that. I primarily use mine for scouting. I'm using it for photography, and I'm using it for movie creation. So I've got 2 or 3 with Virginia State, and they wouldn't let me fly my drone because it took a month to get permission to fly over Virginia State, because everybody's got their own permits. That's the other thing. Being a good drone operator, and you're registered with FAA, because that's why your numbers are on here. So if this crashes, they can write you a ticket for not being registered, and then they can also use your number to track down where that drone came from. So they got you both ways. But if they've got a policy where there's so many students and there's buildings and there's things around they want to protect, they do if they want to have a drone operator. And some of that stuff might be proprietary that they're working with. I don't know how much top secrets we got with our extension programs, but we do work with a lot of companies. So registering them, having the license is a good steward of having these, because FAA has made the permitting process difficult on the first step. So to get to your license, you have to take basically the first tier of a pilot's license, because you got to know lat and long, and you've got to know what's the leading ways into an airport. You got to learn how to fly a plane. Basically, that's the basics, because you got to get into the club. Who's got a pilot license in here? If anybody's got a pilot, because as soon as I finished mine, the Ashland Airport asked me, did I want to sign up for the next step? You know, did I want to buy a plane? You know, and I said, sounds fun. But I will tell you, when you look through the monitor, if you have any height aversion or, fear of heights, when you first fly it really high and you're looking at it and you're so zoned in on it, you almost feel like you're flying. I mean, I'll get that woo feeling that sometimes, wait a minute, what's going on? With this one here, It does not come with, this monitor only is one, so you gotta know this stuff when you buy them. You gotta do your research, because you can buy a drone for a lot of money and you get home and say, well, this doesn't do what I want. It's just like anything else. So you see the little monitor, and they may even show an image on here. This is not to watch what you're flying over. This is just to tell you your battery life, your GPS, because these have GPSs on them where I have crashed. I'll admit that you have a lot of things that will happen, and so they are durable to a point. You break a lot of the props. This one actually has one that's a little chipped on the end, but when I'm not seeing any turbulence, because you're supposed to do a pre-check on safety when you fly them. So you're supposed to fly it on the ground. I show you early, and you look at your props and see if they're all staying even, and make sure there's no flutter so that you won't lose control of the actual drone. It wouldn't be nothing. It wouldn't be a good thing for me to fly with a farmer beside a combine while it's running with my drone for doing filming, for it to run into the actual combine, break a window or something like that. So I'm trying to be as careful as possible. But these will hold your. They're not really handles for you to hold on to. They're designed to actually hold your telephone. So what you do is you slide your telephone into the brackets, and it will hold your phone like this, and you're using your phone as your computer screen or your viewer, and all your technology is on the telephone. So you have to have software on your telephone to work with this. Now, this will fly a drone, but I can fly it, but I can't see if it gets out of sight what it's doing. I can look at the drone, and that's all I can do. I can't see what a picture would look like or anything. So you have to use your telephones with it, and it comes with adapters to do that with the actual drone itself. This one here is made, that's DJI. The only thing with DJI I get a little suspect with is you got to understand the whole process, because if you take some nice photographs of your family and things, this asks you once a month to download all your images and all your data to the home company. They use the clause that they want to see your flight plans. So they want to know where you've been flying this drone. They want to make sure you haven't been flying around Fort Pickett or Fort Lee, or a company that's got airspace that's restricted, because they want to know where these things are going, because they've got a contract with the U.S. government to be able to fly these things, and they don't want them to encroach. As a Virginia Tech employee, during our training, we're not allowed to, if we're flying somewhere that's sensitive, they don't want us recording anything with military or anything like that. Stay on the topic, and that's all you stay on. You don't want to be filming anything outside that someone will come back and say, I saw your drone, and I want to take Virginia Tech to court because they filmed a how do you call it? Proprietary, sorry. Lips aren't working this morning. So there's a lot of things to do it if you're going to do it right. If I make a video, or if I produce I've got a website called Desktop Farm Day. And so that was formed during COVID, and I've got 2 videos from Virginia State, one on tilapia and another one's on catfish production, with the 2 specialists to show to high school kids. And it's basic stuff, but we didn't have anything during COVID. Everybody was scrambling during COVID to find something to show these kids that were locked in at home trying to get an education. So there was not a lot of really good videos that stuck to the task. They might have some that showed a clip of something, but it wasn't enough. And each one of my videos comes with an exam. So the teacher can say, this is your homework, go see this video. And I got some on oyster production too. Y'all were talking about that. So my next is to do clams and blue crabs video for that. So I do a lot of educational videos. This one here is nice and sparkly. This is made by Autel. This is the same company that makes the drones for military work. So this one's very heavy, very durable. What I like about this drone, this is my personal drone, so I always bring this to show. This one's a little more expensive than this, but what's so nice about it is obstacle avoidance. It's got sensors on the bottom, and it's got sensors on the back and sensors on the front. It doesn't have them on the side, so that's what I'm going for next, is total obstacle avoidance, 360 and 360 this way. So I want it like a bubble. So they've got it now where they've got sensors this way, sensors all the way around, and you can fly those things really close. Because that's what happens with me when I'm flying is if you're doing something like goofing off and playing with a drone, sure, you might bump into something. But if I'm focused on, say, if we're tracking a school of fish, or we're doing migratory birds or something that are on the water, and I'm watching them to see where they're headed. We've had people want me to come out and see where their ducks are nesting, things like that with the animals. I'm looking in that so intensely I get lost, because you can have zooms on here now. The zooms are 1x, 2x, 5x, 10x. So you could be from here, I feel like I'm right beside the trees up there, but really I'm flying this far away, and then I might fly into other trees. So you've got to know where you are at all times. I'm telling you all the mishaps that I've made. GPS is really good to go find your drone with it. Flying distance, these things will fly miles, okay? The signal will fade, okay? If you fly here and go around the corner and you're excluded with all this tree vegetation, you will lose your signal. And then what it does, it flies around trying to orient itself. When it gets the power down low, it'll shoot up about 190 feet to 200 feet. It will try to remember its home location and then fly straight back. But it's not like some GPSs where it's going to bring you back within inches. It's going to bring you back within feet. So if I was sitting on the dock, took off from that picnic table, and I flew there and it tries to land itself, it will not hit the top of that deck. It may hit it 1 out of 10 times. And then if you have wind involved and it's trying to land itself, it can make it even more where you may end up breaking the drone. So legally, you're supposed to keep your eyes on it at all times. And if you aren't, you're supposed to have an observer with you when you go out to fly. Now, the thing with mine, flying over water makes me nervous. I have flown them over water. This doesn't float. If you feel this sinks. And I'm not going swimming today to look for this drone. So usually what I'll do when I'm doing aquatic stuff for some of the farmers, I've got a small drone I kind of call my disposable drone. That's my throwaway drone. It's the oldest. Sometimes we use this one if it's over water. This one I kind of stay away. But you can see a lot. Once you go up, you got to stay under 400 feet. If you ever take the test, your answer is 399. Okay, it's not 400 because they don't want you going to 400. But under 400, now y'all have a little bit of a curiosity here because you have an airstrip right beside you. It's a private airstrip, correct? So theirs is still 400 feet, but you have to yield to anything that's going on there. If it's glider, if it's small prop, you still need to know, it's you as the operator, that there's something flying there and you have to yield to whatever they're doing. So if I hear a plane, I've got to come down and get out of the airspace even below 400 to yield to those planes when they take off. So you're supposed to yield to any aircraft. So I talk a lot about the rules and regs, but that's what I teach when I go to the schools to the kids. It's not a toy. And so we want to be as safe as possible. The most tweaky part about a drone is the gimbal that actually holds the camera. This is a gyroscope, okay? So it balances itself as it flies. It's not doing it right now because it's not on, but when it turns on, it will try to hold a steady a view what you have put in here. So you can see how this wobbles quite a bit. This is the first thing that usually breaks. Any type of accident or run into something, your gimbal is the first thing to go. To replace it and get it fixed, some computer stores that work on computers, they're all electronic geeks, and I've carried just about any one of them, and they can fix it. Okay, but they may not be able to calibrate it. And then you'll have to take it home and calibrate by downloading whoever software you're using. Alltel, I'll have to talk to them. And then we'll go through a positioning set of guidelines to let it get its own compass straight. Because this has a compass fly and it also has GPS fly. So it's got an internal compass that says where it's going. So what it'll do is it'll tell you to hold it up this way and move it in 4 different positions you think north, south, and east and west are. And then you set it again and you have to do all, the guy at the store is not going to do all that because it's got to be running, hooked to your phone and then hooked to the service, whoever's providing it for you. Have I got you thinking it's a lot more than just taking it out of the box and going and playing with it? And everybody wants to see it fly. I never let kids fly it. You know, that's the first thing the kids want to do is fly. What's so good about this one is I can take it out and just set it on the ground, and I have a screen already built in. So I can use a phone, but I already have a screen that's in here. This is easy. So this is grab and go. This is what police use, firefighters use, because they don't have to wait and take their phone out and turn their phone on and hope the phone is still charged. Because see, I'm somebody that's very spontaneous, and my wife fusses at me for charging everything every night because I never know what my day's going to bring, and it could be sunny and there's a big combine going to be working today, and the farmers call me and I got to get out there and take pictures of it. So next is to fly drone in a mushroom greenhouse. I want to fly the drone through the mushroom greenhouse and take pictures of all the fungi with it. I think it looks pretty cool. The batteries, so you'll be able to buy one now, and you want to have these for Christmas for yourself next year. But this is what really helps you do any job, is to have at least 3 to 4 batteries, because your first flight might not work out right. You may have something that don't work the way you want, so you'll have another battery. Anybody knows about Saunders Brothers? They're the largest boxwood producer in the state, and they have a large tree fruits. I'm flying for them right now. We're making documentaries on peach and apple and Asian pear production. So I've been there already 5 times flying. So I want to fly the same place each time when I go, so that when I make you a video, you can see the progression throughout the whole video. It's not just one time and talk about it. I keep going back. It takes a lot of these to do all that extra flying. And if you drive 4 hours round trip, you make sure, and they don't charge overnight. I mean, in a flash. These are nice, these battery packs. Would take about 30 or 40 minutes. The light will change by then, or rain moves in, so you got to take all that stuff into consideration. I just put a new battery in here. So it's usually a press and hold for a lot of them. You can see the battery life on it. The lights talk to you, so it is telling you I'm ready to go. A lot of the lights, this is green, meaning it's ready to take off. If these were flashing red, don't take off. Something's not communicating with the drone. They usually have red in the front, so you can see where it's going. Some can see an avoidance in front of you. They know red is something approaching them. Military aircraft can pick these up when they get within like 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet. They can pick them up. I was told they could even use jamming devices if they had to, and it would kill your drone right there on its signal. But I've never had one fly that close to me yet, because I retreat when I see the big cargo planes come. Oh, so I got this ready to go. When I go on site, I was at Purdue Thursday last week on the facility for the grain handling, and so they require me to wear a vest wherever I go, but I wear a vest a lot of times when I'm in a situation where I can't see the drone as well as I would like. So if the GPS doesn't work and I can't come home, so if you fly this lake and you don't know this lake at all, I'm brand new to it. If you fly off, how would you find your way back if the GPS isn't working? Because sometimes these things don't communicate like they should. When I go up really high, I would try to get in an open area and find me. That's how I would fly back. So I was at the beach 2 weeks ago, got permission to fly down near Wilmington on the beach to take photographs, and the wind was so strong, just me looking in my camera, and I was trying to reposition it in a different, the wind had already blown me 1/4 mile, just sitting still. That's how much the ocean breeze was. It was just blowing me down the beach. Well, when it's getting up that high and all those cookie cutter cottages, and you don't know everybody's looking, I was like, oh no, where am I now? So I just got right over the beach and then started to land, and I had my wife take my vest and run out on the beach, and I looked for the little orange dot to bring it back. And I told you I was a talker. So there's another reason that the kids always ask me, why do you have to use a pad? You don't have to use a landing pad. But with this drone here, it's got some opticals under the bottom that it can see the H and the orange, and it recognizes this is the home. So if I totally lose it and it decides to fly back home, always look up, because it could be power lines underneath you or, you know, tree limbs. And I have hit a power line. I've hit 3. How thick's a power line? You know, you can't see them in the lens that well, so you're really supposed to take a scope. But I was watching a guy planting peanuts so intensely, I went right between the positive and the negative wire, and I clipped one of them. And all it did was break the end of one of the props off like this. It just broke the tip off of it, and it was able to still fly that day. Let's see, let's turn this on here. Yeah, you can if you want. But I'm supposed to let you know that I'm going to fly a drone, and it can go on its own at times. You know, if it loses its signal, I just want to let you know that it can happen. I'll try to ground it. So, yeah, so I can herd animals with this, so I can herd you too. No, but talk about cattle. I've done some with farmers actually finding cattle that have gotten out, and then we've actually moved cattle for demonstration. But I'll tell you that cattle, like anything else, they get used to things. And after the first time when they were confused, they've learned, that's no big deal. It's not going to bother me. So don't think you're going to buy one to herd cows with it. They have hung ropes from them. They've added sound things to them. They've tried to do, streamers. One guy, there's a video online, he used streamers, and then some wind came and it wrapped all up in his turbine, his props, and he crashed. So, but what we'll tell you on here is it'll tell you the % battery life on it. So you always make sure when you're getting close to 30, it may want to start setting itself down, because it keeps a buffer with the battery. And then I can always push the button and change it over. Now I can see what it sees at this point. So if y'all want to line up for a photograph, we can take a photograph of your group today. How you take off, you make sure that your antenna are pointing outward. I'm underneath here, it doesn't like that. But the way you fly it is the two control thumb, you pull them in like this. Well, we're not talking to each other. Well, I don't know why it's not taking off. I talk so long, it's probably not communicating. Oh. This was saying it's got a bad battery in this one. That's why you have more than one. It's got stage fright, I'm sorry. Well, this one didn't want to fly today. All right, so I have to add y'all to my next class I teach. Yeah, it's not connecting to the drone here.
Would a Wi-Fi signal interfere with it?
Sometimes Wi-Fi does.
Well, let me turn it off.
Well, well, that's not right. Don't know why now. Well, that's kind of disappointing. It won't fly. It's got stage fright. I, I am gonna have to do that.
That's what I want. Of course, when I was going to spend the right time.
Trying to. So I have had hawks and crows come after it. Yeah, mockingbirds have attacked it. Legal to shoot one down.
I know. Has anybody ever tried it?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
No, not mine. So I took pictures with it, so I'll send them to her of y'all sitting here looking at it. So I don't know why this one doesn't want to talk to each other. I flew it in my yard this morning to make sure it was working. Mm-hmm. So I don't, like you said, maybe the Wi-Fi threw it off something. Because you can fly them with Wi-Fi with your telephone. If you don't have the service, it'll fly with your telephone, but it will only fly maybe 200, 300 feet. It's trying to keep up with what you're telephone has available on it. So yeah, that baffles me why, because you can see it's still trying to connect. Can't find it. If it's, I'll work on it some while we're eating lunch. If we have to, I can fly it after lunch.